day, friends. You are welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to look at classification of questions according to Bloom. It is session 4 of Unit 2 of Methods of Teaching Chemistry. Let's look at our objectives. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain the 6 Bloom's levels of cognitive domain and set questions on the 6 Bloom's levels of cognitive domain from any chemistry topic. So let's look at the domains and thus classification of questions. Bloom identifies 6 levels of cognitive domain as knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and application. Bloom's classification is generally accepted because it is popular, simple, and easy to understand. Knowledge level questions, so we are looking at them one after the other. Knowledge level questions require students to recall from memory specific facts, concepts, generalizations, theories, and terminologies that have been taught previously. This is the lowest level that you have a lot of people operating at. It's just a matter of recall from memory. Now, when you are engaging your student at this level, the knowledge level, these are some of the action verbs that are used. We have what, who, when, where, which, etc. For example, you may ask a question like, define ionization energy. The action verb here is define, and it is at the knowledge level, meaning you want your student to only recall from memory specific facts. Let's look at the next level, which is comprehension. Comprehension level questions require students to express their own ideas and also show understanding of what is learned or read. At this level, we can talk about 2 categories. And what are those categories? They are the translation and comprehension. The translation requires that a student restates, paraphrases ideas or statements without changing their meanings, while interpretation requires students to relate and compare things. Action verbs involved at the comprehension level are explain, describe, contrast, rephrase, interpret, etc. So if you want your student to operate at this level, you can use any of these action verbs when asking them questions. The next is application. Application questions require students to select from given information to solve problems. And here, some of the action verbs are apply, change, compute, demonstrate, discover, etc. So here too, if you want your student to operate at this level, you can use any of these action verbs. For example, with the aid of a diagram, illustrate how J.J. Thomson discovered electrons. The action verb here is illustrate, and it implies students are to apply or are to operate at the application level. Next is the analysis level, and here students are to look for the pieces or the elements that combine to make the whole. Action verbs here include analyze, appraise, break down, calculate, etc. A typical example is distinguish between acid and base. The action verb here is distinguish. And then we can have the synthesis. And at this level, it involves forming relationships, putting parts or ideas together to form something new. In other words, to synthesize. Action verbs include arrange, assemble, categorize, collect, etc. And finally, at the top, we have the evaluation level, and it's the highest level of thinking, and it calls for the use of criteria in making judgments about something. Action verbs, some of them include appraise, argue, assess, attach, choose, etc. And at this level too, we don't have one specific answer, or we don't have just one answer, because it is a point that students will be making judgments. So it calls for divergent answers that are not fixed or are not one. For example, compare and contrast nuclear reaction and chemical reaction. When you give this question to your students, you may get varying opinions. So there may be certain things that will run true, but you may have different ideas. And this is the highest level. We have discussed the domains in order of increasing level of complexity, and evaluation is at the top, with few people operating at that level. We end the session with these questions, and you are encouraged to answer them. Let's meet again in the next session. Thank you.